Lu Miaoyi handles the white pieces and played e4. Deshmukh played the Sicilian. We have knight f3, knight c6, and decided to play the Rosolimo Nishmetdinov attack variation. Then we have knight f6 to attack the e4, e5 counter attack by Miaoyi, and knight c3. Interesting second line choice because the most common line here is simply castles. Now, knight c3, Deshmukh went knight c7 to immediately pressure the bishop, and we have bishop takes knight, d takes c6, and d3, simply to develop the dark squared bishop later on. Then we have g6, planning to play bishop g7, and an immediate castles. h3 to prevent the coming bishop g4, and we have bishop g7, castles, castles, and rook e1 to strengthen the e5 pawn who blocks the fianchetto diagonal bishop. Knight e6 to transfer the knight towards d4 square to control more the important squares. So we have a4, not only by preventing b5, but the chance to play a5 to grab the queenside space. But Deshmukh immediately neutralized it with a5 and knight e2. So still at the book line, belongs to theory. The idea is to play knight f4. Then we have b6 to solidify the c5, the a5, and knight f4 to challenge the knight, and we have rook a7, and that move was the novelty of this game. The old line was h6, okay? So rook a7, the idea is to play rook d7 later on to pressure the white towards the d file, and then b3, then we have h6, okay? According to computer, that move was bad. Better was knight d4. Okay, so to stick on the original plan. Let's go back with h6. Then we have knight takes e6 to eliminate that knight, and that was good. And bishop takes, bishop b2, queen c8. Okay, simply not only by pressuring the h3 pawn, but to put the rook on the d8 square and followed with rook a d7 to give the d file pressure. So queen e2, rook d8, bishop c3. So Miaoyi is waiting for something so to prevent the coming black's b5, something like that later on. So that's the idea of bishop c3. So b5 is not able to play because of captures. Captures, then bishop takes a5 or rook takes a5. Okay, so that is my reading behind bishop c3 idea. So we have rook a d7 by Deshmukh, and then knight h2. So the idea of knight h2 is to play f4 to strengthen, to stabilize, to concretize the e5 who blocks the important diagonal dark square by bishop g7. So rook d5, f4, then h5. Okay, so maybe the idea is to prevent the coming g4 and also to prevent the knight g4. Yeah. And to give space for the dark squared bishop to play h6. Yeah, that is my reading of h5. Now we have knight f1. So Miaoyi is looking for her knight to maneuver into very nice square like knight g3 and then knight e4 or knight e3 straight away to attack the rook on d5. Then we have bishop h6, queen f2 to protect it. Rook f8. Okay, so what's the idea? To play f6 later on and to produce f-file pressure. Then we have knight e3, rook d8, and queen h4. The idea is to threat the pawn e7 and maybe to play g4. Okay, later on. Rook d8 to protect the pawn and rook f1. Okay, so the idea of rook f1 maybe later on after rook a e1, then white has f5 to destroy the king side. But it says bad move according to computer engine. Better was rook e2. And maybe the rook would be on f1 before f5. Yeah, something like that. That is my reading behind that move. So let us go back to rook f1. Then we have f5 by Deshmukh, and that was declared good move according to computer engine. So to immediately blocks the f5 potential attack by white. Okay? So f5, and Miaoyi decided to open up the position with en passant capture. E takes f6, e takes f6, and g4. look at her super aggressive style. It looks scary to open up the king side, especially the white's king. But it's indeed powerful because of the h5 pressure, the bishop there. And Deshmukh played queen c7 to attack or to counter attack on f4. But according to computer, better was queen d7. Okay? To stay at the diagonal and at the same time to cover the 7th rank. But look at the queen c7. Knight g2. Okay, so decided to protect the f4 pawn, but according to computer, better was g takes h5. And after g5, then queen g3. Okay, so it's spin. King h7, then simply king h2. Okay, so black is not able to take the f4 pawn because of queen g6 check, king h8, and queen takes bishop, of course. So that's the better version. But Miaoyi played knight g2 and bishop d5 by Deshmukh. And to eliminate the knight after king takes, then black has rook e2 check or bishop takes f4. And we have g takes h5, g5 by Deshmukh to close the king side as much as possible. But according to computer, better was g takes h5. And let's say queen takes h5, then we have queen g7 to attack the knight. Then after rook f2, and then bishop takes f4. Okay. Yeah, it looks scary for black because of the black's king exposure. But the very powerful bishop pair gives stunning pressure, I think. Okay, but the evaluation bar says equal. So let's go back with g5 by Deshmukh, then queen g3 and king h7. Okay, king h7. So I think the idea is to play rook g8 to put pressure. But better was rook f7. Okay, stay the king there and the rook goes to g7. So later on, we can see the difference of rook f7 and king h7. Okay, so king h7 and rook a e1 to neutralize the e-file control, to prevent the black's coming rook e2. So rook a e1 and we have rook takes e1, rook takes e1, rook g8. Okay, it looks very strong because actually the rook g8 is the original blueprint plan behind king h7. That's why she played king h7 to put the rook there on g file. But according to computer, better was b5. So very hard to find that move because at this point, the concentration belongs to the king side where the war is happening. Very hard to find that move b5. So rook g8. And now, I'll give you a couple of seconds to pause the video, thinking like a puzzle and find the solution and guess the Lu Miaoyi's incredible winning move at this point. Start. Congratulations and thanks to all your efforts. Queen g4. So that's the answer of the differentiation a while ago with rook f7 and king h7. So that's the difference. After king h7, the black's king is in critical because of the weak light squares. Okay? If the black king stays at the g8 square, then rook f7, so there's no such kind of this queen g4. So we have rook f8 to give space to run the king. Queen f5 check. King g8 and we have bishop takes pawn. The idea still is to play queen g6 check. Then we have queen f7 to protect that g6. And f takes g5. Bishop g7. And another strong knight f4. Bishop f3. Knight e6. Okay, another strong move by Miaoyi. Of course, do not play rook e7. It looks winning, but after queen takes rook, you're going to start to cry. You're so much winning after queen takes e7. You're not able to take that because of rook takes queen. So, winning material. So, it's totally losing. So, even at the huge winning situation, do not underestimate the possibilities. Always take care. Okay? Then, let's go back with knight e6. Queen takes h5. Deshmukh was in desperate situation. Knight takes rook by Miaoyi. Queen h4. Okay, threatening towards mate. But after queen e6 check, Deshmukh resigns the game. Why? After king takes knight, then we have queen e7, then queen takes bishop. Okay, mate. And after king h8, we have knight g6 check, king h7, then takes the queen. All right. So, congratulations to Lu Miaoyi. And this is a standing after round number 7. Thank you so much, guys. This is Coach International Master Roderick Nava. See you next time.